What's up, guys? My name is Crush Nate, and I'm here with Voidworm,
Hello.
and I'm here with Titan Slayer Nicole, as you all
Hello.
know from my first marriage. I'm kidding. Okay, so how should I start this episode? So welcome to Random Fandom 2. Um, I found out I only need 6 hours of sleep, and I'm like on fire. So let's start off. So this obviously isn't a picture of the bear that we're talking about, but I think the next ones are like legit real pictures of it. But what is this thing? It's a black bear. Now let me ask the people that we have on the show. What do you want a black bear as a pet?
I mean, I've encountered many bears in my time, but they were mostly people, so no.
They're
Not
mostly
this particular
people.
bear. Yeah. I'm pretty gay,
Ah,
but no, I
interesting.
would not want a black bear as a pet. What about you, Titan?
No, I wouldn't want a black bear as a pet.
Sounds pretty scary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I believe that I wouldn't want one, obviously, because even if you quote unquote trained it to live independently and like a pet, who
Uh-huh.
knows? Who knows that its instincts aren't gonna come around and it's gonna eat you in your sleep?
Yes.
Have you ever
I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure
thought
there are
about that?
people. Well, there's probably people who have had little like bear cubs as pets, but
Yeah.
But then when they grow up and go off to college, they bring their parents in their tummies.
what?
Okay, let's talk about who this bear is. So if I find the right mouse and click to the next slide, this is a black bear that was more known to live on the west side of Traverse City, Michigan. And if you don't know what Traverse City, Michigan is, then you probably live in under a rock. Well, probably not because it's like Chicago in a development sort of. But yeah,
Yeah, I don't know much about your state. Is it cold?
in the
Is it
winter
kind
time
of
it gets fairly cold. Um,
Hmm.
it depends on the time of the year. So like right now it's been more cold because that's what fall is like. 64 degrees right now Fahrenheit. Um,
Right.
obviously we're getting towards winter time, so
Yes.
like it's gonna start snowing
Yes.
and especially if you go to like the upper peninsula in Michigan, they'll get like 10 times the amount of snow in a storm that like the lower peninsula does. That's what Michigan life is like.
I quite like the sound of Michigan. It sounds like a nice place to see the local wildlife.
Oh,
Seems
Yeah.
pretty
I would
quiet.
except when the DNR gets involved. But yeah,
What's
um,
that?
I don't have like the Google definition, but that's like I think that's they deal with like I know it's a lot of animal life. I think they like issue like burn permits and stuff. I think they
Hmm.
kind of like lead the ground of like the parks and everything.
But
So like
tell us more about this specific black bear. When did you first hear about it?
so about let's see, in the last few years, I really started hearing stories from my friends and travelers. Um, Like when I went there, like they told me if I was like ever out like at 5 in the morning on the west side, to run to wherever I was going because this bear was out and about. But they say the Meyer parking lot is where it was seen a lot, but there's a lot of houses around that area because obviously back in the day it was just a lot of houses that they put a bunch of development into.
Mm.
But what this bear kind of like did in its life was it would eat, bird feeders and stuff, like the food out of it, because that's what bears do.
Mm.
Their instinct is to find food.
Yes.
But like when I go camping, like especially up in the UP, keep your food in the car, not in the tent.
Yeah, yeah. I've
Because
heard horror stories.
a bear will climb into your tent and eat you and the food. Let's see. My sister was driving in the UP and she saw like this big dog like run like super fast in front of her car. Then she realized it was a black bear. Like they run very fast. So if you think you
Yeah.
can outrun one, then good luck. Um, Bears, they don't typically go towards humans unless something attracts them. Especially black bears seem to be more shy.
Mm, they tend to be more shy of people, don't they? They don't
Yeah.
want to attack people, do they?
But this one was more, this black bear was more, it was around people so much, it started kind of getting comfortable. So, you know how, you drive your car up next to one, it would run away?
Yeah.
It kinda wouldn't run away. It kinda got used to being around cars and all that. Um,
Yeah.
That's kind of dangerous
I
for the
know,
bear and also people as well.
exactly. Um, and if think of a story where, like, because, in the UP, there's a lot of land, like, there obviously are towns and stuff,
Yeah, there's
but
towns, yeah.
But it's a lot of nothing. Like when you're out, there will be houses and stuff on all these highways out there, but it's a lot of nothing. And look at
I
the
think
next slide here.
oh
And
gosh.
so they had a hell of a time trying to catch the bear because obviously they were afraid of it becoming a danger to the human population in Traverse. So they took the
Mm.
bear after trying to capture it. They finally captured it after like 20 failed attempts where it would like run away from it. But they think it was actually trapped before that successfully by somebody, and I was scared. But so this is a picture of it in an actual parking lot. I
Is it kind of towards the right hand side of the building there? I can see
Yeah,
the little outline. Yeah, that's scary, isn't it?
yeah. I
Gosh.
think this is next. I think this is a building next to one of the dealerships. But I don't know the name of this one off of the top of my
Do you
head.
do you recognize it? Sort of.
Not 100%. I know it's there because when I drive through that area, I'm always on the west side because
Mm. But no, that's really scary. And if you look in the background, there seem to be cars there. Are those
yeah,
cars?
yeah,
Oh, that's a big bear then, isn't it?
yeah. And I don't know, like, because this guy that took the picture was door dashing,
Right.
so he like I don't know what time, if it was like 10 at night or whatever, but I'm wondering if this is one of the steakhouses that are over there.
Yes.
But in early 2021, they finally captured the bear. And I believe they took it to Alpena, the Alpena area, which
Hmm.
if I do a quick statistic
If you do a quick what? Sorry.
statistics search, because
Statistics.
I'm
Yes.
not
Yeah.
100% on all my knowledge here, but so Alpena is so I don't know how to describe the whole Mint thing, but it's 135 miles from Traverse City. So
Hmm.
they drove it 135 miles away and let it out in that area.
And it moved. So it moved. They relocated it, and then it moved back.
Yes.
Obviously, but bears know kind of. I mean, I think bears have a fairly good memory, and I think
Yeah.
they tend to go
So
around in their own territory.
yeah,
So he
when
would have remembered.
bears are used to a territory, they want to be in that territory.
Hmm.
And it walked 135 miles back to where it was.
Yes.
Now, obviously, that's essentially they walked across the whole state of Michigan from one side to the other.
But
And
was it? Do you know if it was a male bear or a female bear?
I believe it's male.
Male bear. Yeah. That's interesting, isn't it?
But for it to
I just
walk across the whole state to one side to the other, it's kind of, it. They really should have just taken it up to the UP, because how would it get back to the Lower Peninsula? It'd have to
yeah,
go
that's
through.
true.
It'd have to go through the whole state of Wisconsin, or it would have to somehow walk across the Mackinac Bridge.
And UP means Upper Peninsula, doesn't it?
Yep. And there's a
Yeah.
bridge
Wow.
that's
That's.
it's a 5 mile bridge that separates it. So I don't think you'd make it very far on that bridge.
Mm.
Unless if someone let it into their car and they drove it back to Traverse City, it wouldn't it wouldn't be going back to Traverse City. I can guarantee you that. Um
What one can say that this bear liked traversing.
yeah, and
Yeah, I
Traverse
like to move around a lot.
Yes,
exactly.
Titan. Yeah.
If we ask Titan, would you want this bear roaming your town or whatever you live in
No,
the middle of the night? About you, Jack, I mean Voidworm. Would you want this bear roaming your little
Well, the thing
your
is, we
little
we don't
village?
have. Well, we in Britain we don't have large carnivores. We don't have wolves either. The largest carnivore I think is like a fox, or maybe carnivorous birds. But we don't have much experience with this kind of animal, so
Well,
to see this would be very scary for us. We're not
yeah.
used to seeing. We're not used to seeing this
Yeah,
kind of
you guys would probably have Hershey's syrup all over the sidewalk when you see that coming. So if I go to the next slide
area.
here,
Okay.
let's see. If we take a look at the next slide, we
Wow, that's a
have
good picture.
so obviously it has the same information that I kind of just talked about. It was a Traverse City celebrity by coming back, but the thing is, the
Yeah.
DNR wanted it away from this area for a reason.
Mm.
hmm
So after just a few months of it being back, I think it came back in April. Or that's when they first trapped it. So
Yes.
they had to go out and trap it again, and they did that. So what do you think the DNR is going to do with the bear? Move it to the UP of Michigan where it could live a good life?
I don't think they would do that.
Nope. They killed the bear. And do you think they should have killed the bear?
I think they should have taken
Uh,
the bear like somewhere up you and safe for bears
Well, there
instead
are
of killing an
multiple.
innocent bear that just was
There's
roaming for food.
there's like multiple points to think about. I mean, is this type of bear, endangered at all in that region, or is it more of a pest? I mean, what do you guys? Because you guys would know that region a bit better than I do.
I don't know. I don't know if it was a risk to human, but if it was,
Mm,
they could have taken it up to where, because there's a lot more bears in the UP.
Yeah, they could have taken it to the UP.
Yeah,
yeah. Thing is, I mean, the UP, the Upper Peninsula, isn't as populated as the lower one, is it? There's way
exactly.
less people. Yes.
Obviously,
Uh,
Sault Ste. Marie is it's a decent sized area, but like the biggest city I can think about is Marquette, Michigan.
yes.
Yeah.
Dude, that place is awesome.
This bear has a
And
very. He's got a
what
beautiful
if it
face.
was a mother bear
No, it
and
wasn't. It was a. They
It
would
was
have known.
it was a male. Yeah.
uh
He's a lovely boy though. Look at
Yeah.
him. Look at his face.
yeah, he's a
He,
cute
But
bear,
they
but
euthanized him and they donated his
mm,
body to some kind of organization or something.
mm.
But
yeah.
this bear making the 100-mile trip kind of reminds me of something.
What's that?
So if we go off topic here,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
have you ever seen the stories where like the dogs, let's say they walked across like Texas or something, or they
Mm.
walked hundreds of miles just to get back to their owners?
Yeah.
So I got a personal story about something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's nowhere near like these stories, but my aunt has a dog.
Mm.
Yeah.
And obviously, she got the dog somehow. Because, my uncle had a friend that, would leave the dog with her while him and my uncle, like, did work or whatever. But the dog
Yeah.
became so attached to my aunt that when this guy would get home with his dog would just run off and disappear. And the dog would walk, like, across a highway and everything to get back to my aunt's house. And it showed up to her door, like, 2 or 3 times before he just gave her the dog.
Uh,
Crazy.
That's
I,
how much he
animals
loved her.
really have animals really have a. I wouldn't say human-like quality. I mean, sometimes they do, but the animals are capable, very resilient, aren't they? They're capable of
yes,
such
they seem
resilience.
to be.
Yeah,
Like this bear walked all the way back to where it was supposed to be before.
of
So it's
course it did.
it's
Yeah,
it's incredible.
it must
Yeah.
have been born here.
Mm.
And it's like it's just sad. Just think about it. Someone takes you, and you think it's an all-you-can-eat buffet when you walk in there.
Yeah.
I don't know why I would walk into the trap again because,
Well, it's a bear.
but it knows it's a trap. I don't know.
Well, they are smart, aren't they? The
Yeah,
bears are actually very
Yeah,
yeah.
smart.
they are smart,
You
but
see how big his
Mm.
head is?
Mm. Mm.
He knows.
But it's kind of sad seeing him in such a cramped container. I mean,
yeah.
there might be good reasons for that that we don't know about. So take that with a grain of salt. But
Yeah,
it doesn't look very dignified sat in there. It's kind of
They
maybe it's
exactly.
to
are
prevent
big and
damage.
strong and they could
Yeah,
rip a person in pieces.
They
I
can
mean,
take
Also,
someone off of their bike and make it look like it's 1955.
the
Hey,
thing is,
hey,
it's
fat
probably
faces.
designed that way. It's but the environment they've put it in the cage is probably designed that way so that the bear doesn't do damage to itself or anyone else. It
Yeah,
just doesn't
yeah.
look very. It's not very dignified. That's all I would
it
say.
looks very sad in there. So
Yeah.
kind
Yeah, it
of
does look
let's
very sad.
let's before we wrap up this topic, let's talk about this topic a little bit.
Hmm.
Any last comments on this topic?
What would you have done if you were the one who caught the bear?
What
Number
do you?
one, I'll answer this question with dignity.
Hmm.
If I caught the bear, I would have painted myself in peanut butter and climbed into the trap with him.
Oh my gosh.
And you know
Why?
I'm kidding. Let me tell you the honest truth. I would not have trapped him because I'm not that kind of person to trap an animal. I
Plus, it's a scary animal, so
Yeah, I would never. I wouldn't even hunt animals if they paid me to shoot it with a bow and arrow. I wouldn't even attempt to, because I'm not that
the,
kind
the
of
only
guy.
time the only time I would ever
I'm a
really
yeah,
try
yeah,
is if it was like survival. If it was a survival situation, maybe on a stretch.
yeah,
But
but I'm a pussy, so yeah, we got that going for us.
well, no, I would just say you have very kind of strong convictions that you don't want to
Yeah,
develop.
I feel the same way with animals.
Hmm. I think
So
a lot of us younger people tend to think that way about
yeah,
animals. It's
because I know these people that are always that hunt, and it's like they just shoot them and leave them there. Like,
Yeah, and then they just
what's
bleed
the
out.
point?
Or if
mm,
you shoot one, why don't you just
Why don't you
like
take
end
it
it
home
at
and eat it?
injury?
Why don't you
Or
eat it
yeah,
instead of just
or eat
leaving it
it
there?
at home.
But the thing is, apparently I've talked to people. Apparently there are they promote hunting. Apparently, like, cause apparently like these kind of animals, it gets too dangerous if it overpopulates.
yeah.
Yeah,
So sometimes the DNR itself has to go out and kill these animals in the woods because there's not enough hunters.
yeah,
See, the thing is that we do have a species in the UK that is considered quite invasive in some areas, or like a pest, and that's actually foxes. And there's been a very big debate here for decades now about fox hunting. Now, in some places, I would say it's acceptable, um, because they kind of they might spread out of control. I can definitely understand that, but I've always had the idea that if it's not necessary, just don't do it. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
if you should even if you have to kill the animal and it's a survival thing, you have to do it, or at least you have to try and do it with respect to the animal.
yeah.
I'd use the parts in the animal. I just don't think it's
yeah,
it's it's kind, you know. I
It's
mean,
not kind to just kill it and leave it
uh,
there.
the other circumstance would be if it needs to be euthanized to put it out of pain, like we do for
yeah.
dogs
I know.
sometimes.
But then why
Yeah.
don't we do that for old people?
Oh my god, Nate,
Wow, that changes our
that's a
topic.
very
Come on,
that's a very
answer it.
tangent.
Like if your great grandmother's sitting in a nursing home at 97 in pain, wanting to die, why can't?
Well, I mean,
It's very morbid. It's very morbid. But
by
someone
the
else
time you
Yeah,
brought
get
this
to
up.
a by the time you start getting grey hairs, you may want to reevaluate that.
yeah.
And to be honest, I am pro living my life until it ends itself. But still,
Most people are.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's some people out there, and have you ever? I just think it's an interesting topic.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
because the topic has a lot of grey kind of moral areas, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It
It's
does, yeah.
it's less about should you kill animals or can you kill animals. It's more about kind of when are the circumstances correct to do something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Um, I just think that it's just a sad story, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is a
so
sad story.
hopefully this next topic we're about to go on can lighten us up a little bit.
Oh no. Oh gosh.
Hopefully.
Okay.
What this next topic is, if I switch a slide here, It's something about OkCupid's controversial ads.
Gosh.
Has anyone ever used OkCupid, like had a profile?
No.
I
No.
remember, I know all these people on there that, I remember, saw this profile. The old man is shirtless and he had a title that said looking for love.
By the
Oh
way,
wow.
just to inform some people, as you can see, some of the ads here are kind of disgusting.
Oh my
I
god.
mean, it's not. I wouldn't say it's something that is harmful to look at, but it is definitely disgusting. That
What,
when
can
I
you,
when I was looking at
yeah.
ads,
Can you explain the one with the tree hugger? With the
I
tree?
Yeah,
will.
that one looks kind of
I
strange.
I believe that's one of the only ads that isn't explained later, so I can explain it now. I well, I don't want to.
Can you please do it for the audience since you
Yeah, please do
made
it for
this?
the audience. Jet
Gosh. Okay,
Void.
for you audio listeners, so we're talking about OkCupid's controversial ads that this sparked a massive controversy on, I believe, Friday of this week, so 2 days ago. Um, they were putting up ads, and as you can see, one of them there, it says that OkCupid is for every single tree hugger. Now, for audio listeners, there's a man and there's a plant in his boxer shorts, and it's a massive plant, and a lady's watering it, but it's made to look like a phallic symbol, essentially. It's really really weird. I don't
Yeah.
know what they were going for with this, but
It's okay, Cupid. What do you expect?
I mean,
There's
the
a bunch of 60-year-olds down there trying to get love. What do you expect for a platform that can only host 60-year-olds looking for love?
the reason why this caused a controversy is because they launched their ads on the subway mostly in New York
Yeah.
City, and this is where a massive event happened. It went viral, but
A bunch of
I'll
kids.
explain that. Oh gosh, yeah, kids go on the subway, so they would have seen some of these ads that we're about to show you.
Yeah.
So without further ado, let's let's take a look at that ad. Now, I've named this Decadence Bingo. Now for the people who don't know what decadence is essentially it's not an ideology, but it's almost like a state of being, I would say, where you seek pleasure and you seek validation and you seek it's almost like self-centered pleasure. Um,
Yeah.
and
Every
you
single
don't harm
introvert.
yourself. Yeah. Some of these are more normal than others. I mean, if you look at, say, the vegetarian or the non-binary down in the bottom right,
What the
it's
every single bookworm?
What what's the
right.
every
So
single non-magist?
non-monogamist. That means that
Yeah.
if you're a monogamist, you only have one partner at a time, whereas they're talking about people who have more than one partner at a time.
Okay, well,
So
why is that okay? Well, I've seen religions, cults where it's like, I don't know, 5 guys and one wife or something. It's weird. Or
Yeah, it's
vice
kind of
versa.
strange to
Or a bunch
do.
of girls that are together with like a bunch of guys.
well, the
And they're
problem
all
is
married.
OkCupid seems to be. Now I can definitely understand that you want to kind of be inclusive and include everyone. That's not necessarily a problem. Like for example, they're saying every single vegetarian, and in a later ad that we'll see in a bit later, there's also one for people who eat meat. So it's like you can love people who are vegetarian or
Like,
aren't.
what kind of meat?
Oh no, you don't make one. But I there is a point where you take things too far. I think every
Yeah.
single
Oh,
bear,
that's me.
every single submissive, and if you look at the one that says every single submissive, there's a man being trodden on by women's high heels. I I I can understand trying to include everyone and making everyone feel comfortable, and on the other hand, it's
Exactly.
also a good marketing ploy. But the problem I have with this is it's kids are seeing this. I don't think that kids should be exposed to non-monogamy at a young age. That's not healthy. Um,
Yeah.
no matter how many flags you put up saying that you're non-monogamous, please leave the kids alone. Can we not have? I can understand if they put this in some kind of women's magazine or like Men's Health, some of these adult magazines. I don't understand the subway, and it seems to
The
be breaking.
subway, a lot of people and young kids travel with the subway, and you could
Yeah.
see all these
The
ads.
subway is a place of life.
Yes.
It's where
But,
everybody comes together. And they ride the subway because, think about it. Have you ever been to a big city?
yes.
Yeah.
You know the traffic. People, it takes
Yeah.
takes 1 hour to go like 2 miles. Therefore, you take the subway, man. You just zip right through back to where your car's parked or where your hotel is.
Mm,
Yeah.
I like taking the subways.
yes.
I wish I could take
I,
one to China.
a lot of people go down in the subway. A lot of different people. Like, and then obviously cities are big metropolitan areas, so that there'll be lots of different
Yeah,
types of people.
workers.
Yeah.
You know, um, but what as we can
What's
see
the
moving on.
DFT one about?
DFT. Where's that? Oh, the
It's the
DTF.
middle.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That I think it's just almost like another overlapping marketing thing they have. I'm not sure what DTF stands for. Oh no, no. It's got to be dating something. Full. Yeah, the F is full head over heels. But maybe it's dating something. But it was basically another
It
campaign that
looks like
of
it's
people.
something to do with the same sex as women dating.
No, because I saw some posters with opposite sex couples as well. But the problem I
Interesting.
have with I mean, these ones are the more normal ones. If we go to that slide, Nate,
Oh, next
Yeah.
slide.
says it says every single romantic. See, that one looks normal to me. I mean, it's a little bit. It's still kind of
Yeah.
sexual. But I mean, that is kind of what dating is. Sometimes there are overlaps between dating and sexuality. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
That's tasteful. The non-binary one, it doesn't bother me as much because she's literally just a normal person looking at you. And the obviously the two women. That's a lot of hands. First of all, there's lots of
Exactly.
hands holding
Yeah.
that woman in the pink shirt there, but it's still normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, it's a normal thing. But if we move over to the next one, the next slide,
Oh my god.
here's some of the really weird ones where you're kind of going down the rabbit hole here. So it says every
Yeah.
single bookworm, and for audio listeners, there's a hand, a woman's hand holding an apple, and there's a hole in the middle of the apple which a woman is putting her finger through,
Her
and this is
lung.
supposed to be suggestive of something. First of all, why is the woman's finger that long? That's really weird.
Because it's a big ball banger. Rope.
Well, that's very strange. And then if you look, it says every single insomniac. Uh, at least I don't believe that's a joke. I believe that's a real one from what I've seen. So that's really quite odd.
Those are like people who have trouble
Like,
sleeping.
well, what's next? Every single person with Alzheimer's. It's just it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. There's being inclusive, and then there's being so ridiculously specific about things that I think it kind of ruins it. Um,
Yeah.
and you can see the one below that. It's a woman and a man painting each other pink. It's a little bit bizarre. And then you've got two people that are like both sock people. It's very strange.
Looks like two
Yeah.
hair
That's
dryers.
strange.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It looks like two toothbrush handles or something. It's
Hair
weird. It's
dryers.
really yeah.
Then
It's very
there's okay. Can you explain this big one on screen?
okay. So
Yeah.
this is the one that is the most disgusting in my opinion, and
It is
it's
kind
not for
of
this.
disgusting.
It's not for this specific reason, but I'll explain it. Okay. So it's for audio listeners. It says every single vaxxer, so that's everyone who's been vaccinated. Um, so there are two women. And one is shoving her really long tongue down the other one's throat, essentially, but it's like a close up. That's disgusting. I don't think kids should be looking at that. That's really again, this is
No, it
you
looks
look
like
for
two tongues mushed together.
no.
Yeah.
It's the woman on top. It's the woman like above's tongue. I mean, it's supposed to look like that, but it's the woman above's tongue, and it's going down the other woman's mouth. It's she obviously just has a long tongue, but it's that is disgusting.
Sexy. Just
Um,
kidding. That's
I
not.
don't want kids. I don't want kids looking at stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's it's it, it's really inappropriate. I don't think kids should be looking at a woman shoving her tongue down another woman's throat. Um, and as far as
Why?
I know,
Okay, I know
this
why.
as far as I know, this specific ad actually breaks several laws that are in place in New York City.
It
Um,
does.
Yeah.
so
It's
for
actually
those of you who
against the TOS.
for those of you who don't know, the New York City subway has a specific rule, and that is that you're not allowed to promote a specific ideology or kind of lifestyle necessarily, like or
Yeah.
this would not be allowed, and it shouldn't be. And I think the reason why
Why
is
is
because
it
it's
then?
women, huh?
Why is it on there then?
Because they've obviously not they're not taking their own rules into account because
They get
it's
pulled.
well in a manner of speaking, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Um, I mean, moving on to the next slide. Okay. If we look at some of these, so we've gone from normal ads that don't have anything wrong with them to disgusting ads that are really inappropriate, and
Wait,
now we move on
what?
to these. They're all political. For some reason, it's really strange. I really don't get it. Why have they gone into specific politics with these ads? So one
What's
of the
with
ads
the
says,
one that says it's okay to date someone who vests
okay,
animals and
that one
eats
is cut
them?
out. So I'll read a few of them. So one ad says it's okay to date someone who loves animals and also eats them. Okay,
Oh,
so again, I can see they're
That's
trying to be fair in a way. They're trying to be kind of like, oh, you can be a vegetarian or you can be a meat eater on our platform. That's fine. Um,
yeah.
it also says every single feminist, which is very specific. It says it's okay to be a party line voter and a swing dater. That's also very strange. Why would you put that OkCupid? Like I know politics are a thing that people talk about, but okay.
OKC. That's some kind of
Another one
chicken joint.
says it's okay to be a party. Oh no, that's one we just did. One says it's okay to choose Mr. Right based on how far he leans left, and by leans left they mean left wing. That's really strange. Why would you put that on an advert? It's
Yeah.
okay to choose Mr.
Children
Right based
would
on
be
how
on the
far.
subway as well, looking at
Yeah.
those ads.
See, but this is the problem I have. This is breaking New York's like the subway's own guidelines on what you can have as an advert. You're not allowed to put things that are biased like that. Um, it's against their rules, and they've received so many complaints about this. Another one says it's okay to not date a man who won't vote for a woman. I'm sorry, what? Like,
What?
and here's in my opinion,
Who made that
technically
one?
okay, Cupid.
But
But
who
it's
at OKCupid?
oh I dread to think, but
We need
whoever
to find this man
or woman
Oh,
and
there's
bring him
people
on
who
for
work
next
at
week.
OkCupid.
or non-binary, like the problem is this is not this is like when I read these, what I heard from it is that this sounds like cope, like political cope. It's almost like,
Yeah.
oh, nobody's going
Yeah.
to date us, so we need specific ads like for feminists and left-leaning men and people who like women. I don't know, leaders. It's so specific. Another one says it's okay to choose to only date someone who's pro-choice. I
Yeah.
just it people. What is this? Okay, Cupid. Like, why have you suddenly thrown your hat into the political ring? Isn't it? This
Yeah, that makes no
is
sense.
inappropriate. It's not
Yeah.
appropriate. I really don't like this kind of stuff being shoved in people's faces. Like it's everywhere in these
No.
There are
um
some ads like that, but not
yeah.
as bad on buses in my city.
But so moving on, um here's another one. And this is by far the worst one I saw. It's okay to have strong convictions and abandon them for the night.
Wait, what?
So what they're basically saying there is that they're promoting casual sex and kind of risky behavior. Um, Now I can understand. Okay, so let's play devil's advocate. If you look on the other side of this, I can understand that sometimes you break your convictions. Okay, everybody's done that, right? Everybody's had a
Yeah,
moment where they kind of break their own moral standards. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
they try their best to correct themselves most of the time. But this kind of thing is really not good to promote. I mean, if a kid looks at that and they're like, "Oh, it's okay to have strong convictions," oh, but I'll just do what I want. I know this word has not been used in 10 years, but YOLO. You know,
You
it's
only live
kids out
once.
there. Please look after yourselves. That's fine to
Yeah.
have strong convictions. If you're gonna break them for a good reason. I don't think you should be doing mindless physical stuff.
Yeah, for the fun of it, you know?
Well,
yeah,
you shouldn't be doing it willy-nilly,
Yeah.
without regard to your own safety. If you have strong convictions and you don't want to break them, let's say you don't want to engage in any physical adult behavior until you're married, that's fine. That's okay. Like, good for you. And if you want to do the opposite, that's okay. But I'm against breaking your convictions. I don't think that's right. I think there's nothing wrong with
yeah,
challenging them, but I don't think OkCupid is being responsible by saying that you should break them. I I I really don't like that. Um, so and now we move on to the article section. So moving on to the next slide.
Alright.
The I found a few different publications that were kind of talking about this. Okay, so here's one from the Federalist. This is by Emily Jasinski. I apologize if I'm butchering these names. I'm trying my best. So she says the culture war is the big tent. Um, Now on the left, this is a woman who caused a massive controversy by publicly, and the train was full at the time in the subway. She publicly tore down some of these things, as you can see in the picture near the bottom. She tore down the um, the adverts publicly, and then she told other people on the train to kind of help her, and they were helping her and agreeing with her. Um, as you can see, she's tearing some of them ones
Wow.
down, such as the sexual one, the one with the two
yeah,
tongues, really kind of disgusting one in my opinion. And she said, "This is propaganda. It's never going to go away until we the people say we don't want this anymore." She adds later, having recruited a couple of other passengers to help tear the ads down. Now during this, she did say stuff like, "We need to reject this communist crap and this China crap." Um, she said that this is kind of making people unsafe, that this is indoctrinating kids. And the thing is, although you can disagree with some of her rhetoric, I think she's right about it. I don't like this idea that it's just plastered all over the train, as you can see in the picture where
yeah,
she's taking it down. It's everywhere, you know. And it's really inappropriate, and I don't think kids should be looking at that kind of thing. It's gross.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of this thing where people were having this discussion about kink up pride and stuff like that. Please, please, sexuality is not the same thing as being sexual. They're different. There's nothing inherently sexual about, for example, being gay or being pansexual or anything other. But please, can we not have essentially degeneracy in front of our kids, please, please.
yeah,
So moving on to the next slide, and I tried to be
Alright.
fair with this. So I tried to look at alternative opinions on it. So this one says, and they're referring to the Asian lady here. Deranged anti-vaxxer goes on viral rampage tearing down LGBTQ subway ads. And they also report that Russia Today, which is well, Russia Television, but they might be linked to Russia Today. For those of you who don't know, Russia Today is kind of a conservative, right-wing Russian outlet that a lot of people who are right-wing watch. Sometimes they're accused of misinformation, so please bear that in mind. So they accuse these specific ads of promoting LGBTQ lifestyles, promiscuity, and abortion. And the thing is, can you really disagree with that? I mean, they promoted LGBTQ because they were talking about pansexual this and bi that and non-binary that. They're definitely promoting promiscuity from the advert with the two tongues, and
Yeah.
they are technically promoting abortion because they're saying they're picking a side. They're saying they're pro-choice, and pro-choice is good. So
Exactly.
what if you even if you disagree with these things, that you can't really argue that they're not
Yeah,
promoting them. Because if you're
Yeah.
putting it in front of people in the subway, that is kind of promoting it.
I know.
Um, Moving on to the next article, the Mail Online, OkCupid, and this is a different controversy that they've been involved with. OkCupid says pro-choice men get twice as many replies on the dating app as it launches new pro-choice badge in response to radical Texas law that bans abortion access. Now, the Texas thing was recent.
Yeah.
Um, so OkCupid specifically picked a side and said that pro-choice men, you get a little badge that says you're pro-choice. So all I'm taking from this is that you can't really say that they haven't picked a specific kind of lane that they're arguing from. They have a specific agenda. That's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad to have an agenda, but I'm just saying that they have one. That kind of backs up what the Russian TV was saying, funnily enough. And then moving on
Interesting.
more, this is also another article that talks about it. OkCupid is called OK Stupid.
Wait,
And
what?
a badge in support of abortion rights by Alakananda Bandyopadhyay.
Oh shit.
I'm really sorry. I'm trying really hard. I'm guessing that's an African name, but I'm not sure. I know
Yeah.
nothing about foreign names, so there you go. Um, the dating platform OkCupid has a new badge that lets potential matches know if somebody is
Oh.
pro-life. While this might not be the most forthcoming news for pro-lifers, that doesn't bother the dating platform whose headquarters, incidentally, is in Texas, where this law was just passed banning kind of late-term, mid-term abortions, I think. And then lastly, onto the last slide, some of the kind of other things that have been pushed through thanks to this controversy is more awareness. So here's a New York Times article, and funnily enough, it says for kids, and the kids saying, "I think COVID-19 regulations should be stricter. Cases are already rising." So the lady on the train earlier was saying that this stuff is getting pushed down our throats a little bit, and I can't really say that I completely disagree with her. I think she's right about some of this stuff. Here's another. Do you see the one with the Statue of Liberty?
Yeah.
The mask that was on the same train
Oh.
that all of these stuff is, all of these adverts were on. So it really does feel to people like it's getting pushed down their throat. All of this stuff, and people need to back off. I think, and they need to. I mean, if you just look at that Statue of Liberty, to me that looks dystopian. That looks really weird. Um, it looks suffocating. It looks uncomfortable. And as you can see down at the bottom there, from Scootercaster, is loads of anti-mandate activists have now entered a vaccinated-only food court station in Staten Island. So this is a very controversial debate that's going on. I'm talking more broadly in terms of what's being pushed on people and what people are doing in response. You don't see many alternative things to talking about. Like,
Yeah, we're
if you look
more.
I have a question about this. If you own like that Cupid company, would you change some of the stuff?
I don't mind if they want to be. because the thing is, some of it is okay. So if they're like, oh, if you're non-binary, that's great. You can find some what do you want to say? Like, you can be here if you're vegetarian, non-vegetarian, woman, man, gay, straight. Like, if they did something like that, like everyone's welcome, then that's fine. That doesn't bother me at all. I'm what I don't like is the disgusting thing that's been showing, like they're showing it to kids. I really don't like that.
Exactly. Why are
That's the
they
Yeah.
thing.
showing it to kids, you know?
And the thing is, it's
It's
so
just
strange
not.
because I feel like if that the lady who tore them all down wasn't Asian, they probably would have been calling her everything under the sun, like the sun at this point. All these media outlets.
Yeah.
And uh,
Yeah.
if you hear her, she's really angry. She's saying that this is like an agenda, it's being forced on our kids. And the thing is, whether it's being done lazily or they don't really realize that they're doing it, it's not appropriate. It's really not appropriate, in my opinion. I don't know if that sounds conservative. I don't know
Yeah.
what that sounds, but I don't like it. That's my line. Um,
Yeah.
and I just wanted to also say, on this slide, I included two little things where you can see that New York is kind of getting angry at itself and it's spiraling kind of into this weird meltdowny place. And there's the bottom tweet there where it says viruses come and go, loss of freedom is forever. See, I wanted to also turn that on its head because that's not necessarily true. Um, freedom does go away and it can come back, but it also can be gone for a long time. I'm not saying that this person is wrong or right, but I am saying that you can see that New York is kind of having a battle with itself right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Because
It
sad.
seems
It's
like
kind of sad to see.
it is sad to see. It is really
yeah.
sad.
Because
I
it's.
I wish that the public space was neutral. And what I mean by that is either you allow everything in there, in which case, where are the pro-life adverts? Okay. Or you don't allow anything in there and there should be tame adverts, nothing saying anything remotely offensive. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
you have to pick one New York and you have to pick one New York subway. Like you can't do this thing where you allow all of this, in my opinion, kind of left wing crap, but you don't allow all the cringy alternatives. You know what I mean? I don't like this. It's almost like a slow invasion of the public space with kind of scary messages. Like I I mean, if you look at the one with the New York Times there, and it says New York Times for kids, and then the kid is saying, "I think the COVID regulations should be stricter." It's like, okay,
Yeah.
but some kids might not agree with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's different. Everyone has their own opinions, and
Yeah, and that's fine.
we should
Like
let it be, you know?
it wouldn't bother me if they included all sorts of things, and I think they maybe tried to do that because an example of this is they were like, oh, um, we're for vegetarians, but also people who eat animals and love them. We love you too. I think uh, that
Yeah.
seems that seems to be what they were going for, kind of, but they seem to
Yeah.
have gone down this route of just more and more disgusting. Like if you look at those pictures, they're rainbowy, they're like brightly colored. It's really
Yeah.
a word I would say for those ads in particular is sickly. They're sickly. They're kind of disgusting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh, but that's just my opinion. But there you go. That's my topic. Any
Alright.
questions? Does anyone have
Um,
any questions?
I think you've done a good job explaining everything.
yeah.
I kind of ranted for a second there, didn't
Yeah.
I?
So, let's just,
Let's
not
move
like
on.
take a break, but let's just take, like, I don't know, 30 seconds and just prepare to move on to our next topic. So, I'm going to pull it up onto the screen here. So, we're moving on to a completely different topic.
A light-hearted topic.
Yeah, animes.
Animes.
So, we got the first slide of this up. So, with
So
Mr.
anime.
Titan,
Oh,
if you want to go ahead and start talking about your topic, let's get it
all right.
on the road.
So,
So the animes I'm gonna talk about are Rascal Does Not Dream of Girl Senpai, Digimon Adventures 2020, and Darwin's Game. Next slide.
Perfect.
Can I just mention that Rascal does not dream of bunny girl senpai? That's a really long and weird title.
Well,
Yes.
you know those what is it? Those pop funk or whatever, pop rock, pop funk
Yeah.
bands from like the early 2000s. They
Mm.
had titles like "My Grandmother Slipped and Fell Off the Porch and Stood Up and
Oh yeah, they have like overly
Smoked
descriptive.
Weed for 10 days straight and
Yeah.
joined the biker gang." Like
Yeah.
they have
So
long titles like that.
yeah.
So tell us about this specific anime, Titan.
Rascal Does Not Dream of a Bunny Girl is about a guy who his sister has some kind of weird disease that looks like Alzheimer's,
Mm.
and he helps her their parents move away because his mom also is kind of sick because they couldn't uh deal with the pressure of trying to help their daughter, and yeah, they moved away. He took care of his sister, and he
Good
has
for
a
him.
pop star girlfriend who helps him with her. The main character is Satsuke Uzaga, and he's a high school student of the
Oh,
story.
we're on the next slide, are we?
Yeah,
I'm gonna try and pronounce this. Sakuta Azusa, Azusagawa.
yeah.
So tell us about him. What's he like?
He's very friendly, and he helps a lot of his friends.
Okay. So, what ways does he help his friends?
Like there was one friend who she was shy, and she liked one of his other friends who was like a athlete, and he got her to like ask him out.
That's good.
Hmm.
That's classic anime, 'cause a lot of them do that, but I'm
Yeah,
happy there's characters that they teach. It actually teaches very valuable lessons to people.
Hmm.
yeah,
It's not like, a TV show where you watch it and you become dumber. You actually become smarter while watching like this kind of stuff.
Anime is interesting. I find anime some I we there's this in joke, isn't there, Titan and Nate? Like where we it's like I hate anime. I'm like, go leave me alone. I
Yeah,
don't want to talk about the anime. But to be fair, there
I'm
is a
the
lot
same
of
way.
there are a lot of animes that have like good story written,
yeah,
and the characters are well
yeah.
designed.
There's a lot of kind of fresh, I would say fresh potential in
Yeah,
because it's obviously it's based off of Asian I mean
Asian or Japanese culture.
Korean,
Yeah,
Japanese, Chinese, yeah. Um, uh, it's it's almost like a new thing that the modern world kind of hasn't seen before, almost.
Exactly.
And it's
yeah,
more fresh.
exactly.
I found I've actually been really enjoying a few very specific anime, what would you call it, franchises lately. Much more than our cinema in like Hollywood.
Yeah,
More humble. I find it more humble. You know what I mean?
agree with that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not like big CGI and all this rubbish. It's just you're presented a conflict between two or more characters, and these conflicts actually kind of mean something to you as a person. Um, I find that in anime, it's very interesting. One of my favorite animes, well, one of the only animes I've watched, is called what was it called? A Silent Voice. Yeah. And there's also Beastars that we've been watching, isn't there? That's also very interesting. Um, very very strange. I didn't expect to like these things, but they're growing on me a little bit. I prefer them to a lot of our media. But so tell us about. I'm going to try and pronounce this name. So it's on the next slide. My Sakurajima.
yes.
Oh, well,
She is a singer and a model, and the girlfriend of Sakata, and she also has a sister that kind of looked up to her because her mother or their mother favorited her because she was like a good singer and model, and her sister wanted to follow in her footsteps, so she kind of hated her sister as well
hmm.
because her
Interesting.
mom favorited the sister more.
You know, and there's actually a lot
What?
of real elements to this.
Hmm. Yeah, it's like I say, a lot of these animes are like they're down to earth. It's just
Yeah,
two characters with a character problem. It's a character study almost. Instead of
Yeah.
having these ridiculous scenarios. I find in a lot of these animes, it kind of cuts straight to the core of what like human problems that a lot of humans
yeah,
face.
it does a good job doing that.
Mm, mm. So tell us what kind of songs does she sing? Do you know?
Like K-pop, I think.
Yeah, of course, K-pop. That's pretty popular
K-pop. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in
So
like
this is a
Yeah,
Korean.
Japan,
This
right?
is a Korean anime, is it?
yeah, Korean or Japanese.
Korean.
It's a
Yeah, it's
Japanese
Korean
manga.
actually. That's where K-pop.
Yeah, K-pop originated from Korea, I
Yeah.
guess.
As a side question, Titan, I have to ask: subs or dubs?
Both.
Both. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'd probably.
Okay. So, can you explain to me on this next slide what Dingaman, Em- Digimon, Digimon?
Yeah,
How am I pronouncing it?
you're pronouncing it well.
Digimon?
Yeah,
All
it's
Oh
right.
wow.
Can
Digimon.
you explain what
Oh,
it is?
hmm.
So basically, Digimon was a 19 uh 20 or in it they started in the 90s, and it's like a show kind of like Pokemon. If you haven't seen
Pokemon.
what Pokemon is,
I
it's
play
like
Pokemon
you
Go
had
every day.
a little pet animal that would fight other animals, kind of. Digimon's basically the same thing,
Interesting.
but yeah, with different creatures and evolutions. And Digimon had like six or seven people who were like the chosen ones, and you can see them here in the image. That one's Tai Chi. That one is Matt,
Tai Chi.
Joe. Uh,
Isn't Tai
that
Chi a
one's
type
Matt's
of
brother.
isn't Tai Chi a type of martial art? I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's
Tai
what I've heard.
Chi, and this one that's holding out her hand in the orange and blue. She's related to him, and
Hmm.
then each of them have their own Digimon. My
Whoa.
favorite would be Matt and Matt and Gabumon. I mean, and here are some. Here's like his uh,
That's
Gabumon's evolution tree.
Are we on the next
yep.
slide?
Yeah,
Yes, yes. Well, that's interesting. It kind of evolves in. It's almost like It's like a mecha wolf. Mech wolf
yeah,
Yeah.
the,
So it's kind of cool
yeah,
that they brought the show back. From
from
yeah.
extinction.
They
yeah.
did a good job bringing it back.
It'd be
There was a
like
lot of fans
yeah.
back then, and yeah.
Be like if they
And
could do that
this
dinosaurs.
Digimon has also a lot of content, like video games and their own stories. There's
Hmm.
even like two Digimon games that are newer.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, it looks as if the picture on the right is from the earlier, what would you call it? The earlier franchise, and then this one on the left looks like it's from almost. Is it a fan picture?
no,
What's it from? Like, is it from the reboot or is it from the
It's
original?
from the reboot, I believe.
Ah,
Right.
it's very nice picture.
So
Yeah.
if we any more comments on this little tiny area of the or
So
shall we?
Digimon Adventures is about Earth and a digital world which is connected digitally. And throughout the show, the chosen ones fight to save both worlds from evil Digimon. And that's an image of an evil Digimon. His name's Devimon. He's like a
Oh,
devil demon.
Do the
n-
Digimons do they
next,
have powers?
yeah.
Do they have like superpowers?
Explain
Yeah,
what
they
he
have
does.
powers.
Explain everything he does.
He shoots like beams of purple energy at like the main Digimon that fight him.
Interesting.
And all of them have different moves, like Agumon, which was Tai Chi's Digimon. He can his is like baby flame, and it's like a little fire ball that he throws out. And yeah, once they have evolved, they have different moves as well.
I like the art style. The art style is very unique.
Yeah,
I quite
it's
like.
awesome.
Yeah,
It's like the shading I quite like. So moving on, what's this next
Yeah,
slide?
Darwin's games.
Hmm.
Darwin's Games is a game about real world connected to an app that was called Darwin's Game, and it gets very dark, and it's got consequences if you lose. And
What
that's the
kind of
picture of the
what kind of
characters.
consequences?
What?
What are the consequences if you lose this game?
Like it's linked to your real life. Like if you die in the game, you actually die in real life.
Oh, that sounds
Oh
interesting.
wait,
And your
dude.
body would disappear and it would just like leave a image of your like outline,
Oh,
just like
Okay,
in some criminal shows.
so when did this show like come to be? Like what year?
I think it's this year or like it was probably a
it
while back. I
So
don't
it's kind
know.
of like a battle
it
royale, sort of.
Kinda.
it originally aired in March 2020. So
Yeah,
it's quite recent, isn't it?
it is.
It looks recent. It's yeah.
Cause
I really like the art style for this one as well.
it's a very interesting concept, and
What's
Yeah.
in the game? Like, what other tasks that you have to do?
You basically have to survive. It's like a battle royale with people that,
Oh gosh, battle royale
yeah,
is very popular nowadays.
it,
You
how
get
it works is like you have the app and you download it, and there was like a snake that bit the main character and took him to that world, I guess. And after the bite, you get like, yeah, the main character is name is Pseudo Kami, and he's the
yeah.
protagonist of the story. He was brought in to the game because one of his friends needed help. You see the other picture with the guy with red hair, Himedot. He was the one who called him
done
into
the
the
wrong
game
pod.
because he got attacked by one of the players. And on to the next slide.
Kaiodai Hiroyuki.
Yeah, and Himeda were both killed by in Darwin by Kota, which is the guy in the panda outfit.
That is terrifying.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
stabbed this
No, no
guy's neck
spoilers.
in the anime, and it like bled in a lot.
Mm.
and then
Very-
he tried saving um he tried saving Pseudo, and then when the panda was after Pseudo, and yeah, he lost his life to save his friend,
So
And
which
is
was
that
it's
a
so
person?
interesting.
Is
kind of
that a
sad but
person?
interesting, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's
Is that a panda or is there a person under
yeah,
that?
There's a person under that, and it's like a football team mascot.
football team.
That's really creepy. You don't want to see that coming at you in a dark alley, do you?
No,
Holy
and he
crap.
had like the panda had a knife that would cut at people. I
Oh,
guess we can go on to the next slide.
Alrighty.
So
Darwin's Game.
Darwin is different from most animes because the characters can be killed off in the real world if they don't live, and if they win, they basically uh li like survive. And it's like basically a fight to the death and with weapons and sigils. Sigils are like abilities that people can use. The main character's ability, he can create like weapons out of nothing when he thinks about it,
See, this is the thing
and
with
he
anime.
uses it when he's in danger the most.
This is the thing with anime. It's not like normal films, like because since you're drawing, you're writing stuff down. Like it's it's almost limitless the kind of things you can do with anime, isn't
Yeah,
it? There's so many interesting
Exactly.
concepts and ideas that you there's so many directions that I think you can go in. Whereas with a lot of modern films, I think people get a little bit tired of them. Whereas if you're
yeah,
for anime, you can just dive into that genre. No,
yeah.
this is very interesting.
Yeah.
Like I might go and check out some of these
Yeah.
actually.
I'm glad that we covered this topic tonight because it brings such a new
New
perspective.
ideas. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's like a new format. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I think I have a feeling, just like K-pop. I know that's a dirty word nowadays, but just like K-pop, a lot of other things. I believe that this next decade especially is going to be the rise of a lot of kind of Asian media, like
yes, I believe that as well.
like a lot of Asian made Asian ideas.
There is
Like
also another anime which is basically they took Star Wars and uh like some people who own like Disney and those people, they took Star Wars and collabed it with anime productions and stuff
oh
and
yeah,
made like a Star Wars Visions, which is like little episodes of scenes like from Star Wars, but they made it Japanese like,
that's interesting. I didn't know
and
that.
it
Yeah.
recently started.
Where
Yeah.
where can people find these animes? Where can they find them if they're interested?
Well, some of them are online, like
Netflix.
Netflix would have Darwin's Game and the Bunny one, and the Digimon was on a Anime Haven.
Anime Haven.
Yeah, it's a
So
site that
yeah.
has a lot of anime on it.
Okay.
So Anime Haven. So it's not like on Hulu Hoop or
I mean,
Sling a
they could
PTV.
have them on those as well, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. So let's think here. So if we before we wrap up here, I want to. So before I say anything,
We kind of want to see the
yeah.
this is becoming a tradition.
Well,
Uh,
before we head off to there, I just got an idea for a small little segment, and
What's the segment?
go over the chat. So from a lady named Hay, she said, "My life is that quote. Don't do it, kids." And that's referring to the from earlier in OkCupid of what was it going against your limits, sort of.
Yeah.
What was that, Jack, from earlier when we were doing
What
OK? That
the okay Cupid?
yeah, that ad where it said you can be risky and do stuff.
Yeah.
That comment
Yeah.
was in reference to that. So now, if we head to our next slide, hit the road, Voidworm.
Basically, we're taking all of the Roblox, the funny Roblox quotes that we have, the random ones. This is a tradition that's now being created from the last live stream of Random Fandom. So what somebody says here is, honestly, what if you effed your soulmate under the Obama pyramids? That and below here is my interpretation of what I think they mean. just
It's
just
a
uh,
honest interpretation.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I tried my best. As you can
it's
see,
really
there's a blurry
cool.
image. I blurred it for YouTube.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So I'd like to thank everyone for watching us tonight.
You're welcome.
Please comment any questions or anything, and we might make a follow up to them if we get enough. Um, I'd like to thank Titan for coming on the show, and I'd like to thank Voidworm for being on the show.
Thank you very much for both of us. Thank you for having us. It was very, very fun.
And I'd like to thank myself for having the courage. And oh my god, my light just got brighter. I have some weird electric problems
By
going on in
the
here.
way, on a little tangent, I just want to say this live stream has been
All over the
we've been
place.
plagued by technical problems. Yeah,
Yeah, like, you guys can hear us through Titan's mic. Because he doesn't
Yeah.
have headphones on.
that's a Titans mic thing. We need
Yeah.
to do something.
We need to buy him
Yeah.
headphones. Yeah,
I guess I should have worn my headphones for this.
Oh,
yeah, because I can
that's something for next time.
So,
Yeah, it's my second time really.
yeah, so
on this.
please comment all your hate towards him and not me.
Oh, he's also a furry.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd
Yeah.
mention
Yeah, that's who we're
that.
bringing
Go
on
ahead.
next week for we're gonna be watching. We're gonna be talking about Sexy Beast on. I forgot the name of the show. The RF something.
Something terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, but don't worry, you guys will see it. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna go ahead and let them go. Um, please subscribe to the Eel Media Cast channel. Please subscribe to Crash Snake because I'm awesome. Little plug there, but please mainly follow the Eel Media Cast as we're hoping to get content out every day. Is the goal, but it might be a while before we get to that stage. But I'll post updates on my channel too. Um, I'll let you know if we get any more changes to the Eel Media Cast. I might actually do Eel Media Cast updates to the channel here. Um, I'm kind of talking to myself at this point, so I'm gonna go ahead and get out.
Get out.
Thank you for watching Crash Nate and the Eel Media Cast.